All right, so we're recording here. I've tried this a number of times, so we'll see if it works this time. Yeah, welcome to the Winter Athletics Info session for this year, for this school year, 2024 to 2025. We're doing this over Zoom just because I feel like it's easier for everybody to get together. I know everybody's busy. I know people have work late, so it makes it difficult to get back to campus. So this is the reason why we're doing it online. I'm going to send this out as a video link so people can access it however they'd like. They don't have to watch it all in one sitting. They can kind of cycle through the parts that they need and parts that are important to them. So that's why we're doing it this way. Hopefully it works. Um, it's we've done it in the past. We did it during COVID. People seem to like it, so we're going to continue with it at least for the winter. Um, we oftentimes do summer athletic info sessions as well, but we tend to do those in person because the weather's nice. People want to get back to school and see one another. So that's kind of why we do it that way. But this is straight business. This is all logistics. This is everything that you need to know for the winter athletic season. And without further ado, we'll get started. Very quick, I do want to shout out our very own Coach Cat Walker. Happy belated 31st, 34th birthday to Cat. Um, for those of you who have been a part of our program for a while, Kat's been a staple. So had to shout her out, had to give her some love, and yeah, we'll get started. I just want to make it known who our team is for this winter. We've got an amazing team. Everyone on this list is returning, which is amazing. Means a hell of a lot for that to happen, right? We see turnover happening, all over the place, but we have a very consistent crew here. Awesome foundation, and we're going to continue to use these guys for years and years to come. So we've got Christian Santos, who is our head indoor track coach. Andy Pierre, who is our assistant indoor track coach. Charlene Fernandez, who is going on year 9 of her tenure as the girls varsity head coach. Josh Gates is the girls assistant coach. This is his second year as the assistant coach. Rainique Taylor Core. This is her first year as the head coach. Last year, she was the assistant coach. We're super happy to have Rainique. Also, fun fact, Rainique's an alumni of the school. She did cheer while she was here as a student. Um, we love giving opportunities to alumni to come in and give back to the community that they were a part of. So Rainique's been doing a great job as an assistant, and made perfect sense for her to come in and take the head coaching role with the departure of Kelly. So super excited to have Rainique in the role. Kat Walker in entering her 4th year as the boys varsity head coach. Tariq as the assistant coach. Mr. Tate is the assistant coach. This is his 3rd year as the assistant coach. And then head coach Bruno Perez for the boys JV. Christian Jenkins is also the assistant JV boys or assistant JV head coach. Made this graphic a little bit ago, and he didn't quite make the cut, but want to make sure I shout him out because he's been doing a great job. So I'd like to lead every session with a question for the parents and for the students. So I just want everybody to kind of take a moment to think about what is one thing that you've done to prepare for this year during the off season, whether that was working out throughout the year, whether that was playing another sport to ensure that you stayed in shape leading up to basketball season, whether that was making sure your grades were on point leading up to the season so you're academically eligible. Could be a number of things. Doesn't have to be any of those things, but it's certainly not limited to those things. So just take a moment and think about one thing you've done. And if you're having a hard time thinking about something, that that could be an issue, right? We want to make sure that we are taking our interscholastic athletics serious, and it's important that we do a lot of preparation, the bulk of our preparation during the off season. I always say that failure to prepare is failure to succeed. So I really do hope that all of you have an answer in your head for this, and I will be asking you guys as I see you throughout school what you did to prepare for this winter season, because I'm hoping you have a pretty well thought out and prepared answer. And sorry, I'm getting texts in real time here. So All right. I do want to take a moment here to ground ourselves in the NHCS athletics mission. It is a little long-winded, so I'm not going to read it to you guys, but just know that it's here. Take a look. You will be hearing it throughout the season, I'm sure. Um, but yeah, just take a moment here, everybody, to ground ourselves in the NHCS mission. Be helpful if I turn my walkie off, right? All right. Anyways, we as everybody as people who were with us last year know, we partnered with Under Armour, and it's been an amazing partnership. They've been super easy to work with. They've been providing all of our uniforms, our swag, our gear, all that stuff. So um, they're an amazing distributor, amazing supplier, and the quality is amazing on everything that they've offered us. I know it wearing. Do I have one on right now? Yeah. So no, I've got Nike on right now, but um, it's not NHCS branded, which is why it's not Under Armour. But Under Armour is our supplier. They've been great. The uniforms have been great. The quality's been unmatched. And if anybody's interested, they can scan this QR code. And it'll bring them to our team stores, and our coach store. So for fans, family, friends, student athletes, anybody who wants to purchase NHCS gear, this is your link to do so. I had a lot of requests last year by parents like, "Oh, we want to wear, the hoodies that you're wearing, Mr. Urban." Well, here's your opportunity. This is where I get all of the stuff that I wear. Believe it or not, I do pay Under Armour to get all the gear that I own. Um, I don't just get it for free, I promise. But yeah, so um, yeah, give it a look. There's plenty of stuff. We've got vests, we've got polos, we've got sweatshirts, we've got hoodies, we've got bags, we've got drawstring bags, joggers, all that type of stuff. So if you are interested in repping NHCS and showing up to the Croc Center this year in some gear, please take a look at this QR code. The proceeds, a portion of the proceeds do go back to us. In the athletic program. So you're not just sending money over to Under Armour. A portion of it does go back to us, which is super helpful. Obviously, um, it does take quite a bit of cash to run an athletic program, which we'll be talking about in a bit. So um, any way that you guys can help is greatly appreciated. And if it means repping our gear, that's all the better. So it seems like a win-win to me. This little green camera thing, for those of you again who were here last year, you know what this is. We put it at the center of the court at the Croc Center every Friday night, and it films our games. It's awesome. It does it on its own, basically. I don't have to control it. I don't have to hire anybody to control it. I just fire it up, put the tripod up in the air about 20 feet, and it follows the basketball based on some new technology that I couldn't explain to you how it works, but it just follows the basketball without me having to do anything. It doesn't pivot or anything, but the two lenses capture everything, and then I upload it to the cloud. AI actually takes a look at it and edits it and then sends it back to me. And then your student athletes who are playing in the basketball games that night can then take that footage and create highlight films, and we can send those films off to college coaches, that sort of thing. It's a super useful tool. It's a super helpful tool for coaches because they can take a look at footage and do film studies with our athletes. And again, we can also build out those clips and send them to college coaches for student athletes that are interested in playing sports at the next level. So back to the money piece. For those of you who have been a part of our family for quite some time, you know that the Croc Center traditionally has been free to enter, right? Which has been great, right? We've created a huge following. Um, we pack it out every single Friday night. Um, and it's been a great way for us to build our program and gain sort of notoriety around the city as one of the better teams in the area, but also one of the teams that put on really a show, right? It's not just a game, but you're coming to the Croc to experience a product, right? So that's kind of was my idea behind not charging at the beginning, right? We had to create something that people wanted to be a part of and people wanted to come to. But this year, it kind of made sense for us to pivot and move in the direction where we needed to start charging at events. So we've partnered with a company called GoFan. Um, GoFan has been nothing but, first of all, convenient. But second off, they've been communicative and they've really kind of set me up with all of the things that we might need to efficiently host and run an event that we need to charge at. So we've got billboards with QR codes. We'll have an iPad at the front of the Croc Center every night for people who don't purchase tickets beforehand. They can purchase at the day of. We will not be taking cash. Ticket prices will be between $6 and $4, six for adults, four for students. Um, and yeah, it's just another way for us to offset costs. It's another way that we are going to be able to keep this athletic program afloat because we do need to generate revenue to be a successful program. So it helps everybody. Um, it might be inconvenient, but I do want to make it very clear that again, it's all going back to this program. Um, and yeah, that's really all it comes down to, right? To give people just kind of a little bit of transparency, right? Like, referees cost money, the Croc Center costs money, the athletic trainer that we hire at each event costs money, the people that I have working the table cost money. So if there's any way we can offset costs and get back to net zero for, even just one Friday night, right? That's a huge help to us and takes a huge sort of like burden off of us as a department. If anybody has further questions about this, I welcome you guys to please reach out to me via email. You can give me a call, you can shoot me a text, whatever the case may be, whatever's easiest for you. If you have any thoughts, just let me know, and I'm happy to have a conversation about it. So this is the direction we're headed this year. Once we do make playoffs, because we are making playoffs, I want to be very clear there. But once we do make playoffs, it is required that we charge anyway. And GoFan is actually the company that the state uses and state mandates. So I wanted people to get used to that process and get used to that. So there was no surprises as we entered the playoff run because we do need to use this software and this product to again generate revenue. All right, NHCS Master Athletics schedule. This is sort of a coach-facing document, but there will be a document similar to this sent out to everybody once we get teams established next couple weeks here. But the tryout schedule is live. It's on the Athletics Instagram, which I'll show in a little bit here. But just to give you an idea of kind of how every day is planned from here on out, from December 2nd till like March 1st, I'll show you guys kind of what we're looking at, right? So we do have our boys schedule here. I will leave this up for just a moment. This is the boys varsity schedule. You can see your opponent here in this column. We have 18 games scheduled this year for the regular season. I do need to leave two as TBD playoff slots because that's just what the league is requiring this year. For anybody who's sort of like in tune with interscholastic athletics in the state of Massachusetts, there have been a few schools, about 8 or 9 schools out in Western Mass that have actually sued the MIA for a number of reasons. But part of it was because they went into the fall season without their TBD slots. So without ranting about that, it's just not a good thing. We to leave those off, so we need to make sure we keep those. So 18 games. We start with Argosy. We go to Brook, BLS, APR, South Shore, OB, New Heights, New Mission, defending state champ. So that's going to be an awesome one. The Croc Center should be packed that night on January 10th. We travel out to Wayland, Codman. We go to Boston English, Roxbury Prep, Boston Prep, Foxborough, Mystic Valley, Maimonides, Holbrook, and then we end the season with Boston Collegiate and immediately hop into playoffs right after that. So very, very tight schedule. And also minimal home games. All these games in green here are home games. Budget-wise, we can only afford the Croc one night a week, and there's only so many weeks in a season. So it is a little away heavy, which is kind of a bummer, but it's without facilities, that's sort of the obstacles we're up against. Girls varsity basketball, we still have one more game to fill. So there's 17 on the list here. There will be one more added. We're just figuring out a date with the other athletic director. But girls start with Argosy. We go to Brook. They go away to Brighton, APR. We play BLA this year, which is going to be a huge game. That's at the Croc Center at 6 o'clock prime time. Please pack that one out. That's right before break. We've got new mission for the Christmas Classic. The first time ever a girls game is headlined that, and they chose us to headline it. So that's a huge, huge game in the city. And we're blessed to be part of that headline. Prospect Hill, heartbreak from last year. Most of New Heights. We've got Fenway this year, Collegiate Charter, Lowell, Codman, Roxbury Prep, Boston Prep, Foxborough. Lynn Classical, huge game. We're going to go up to Lynn and play Lynn Classical, so that's going to be a great game. Maimonides, and then Mystic Valley right at the end of the MIA regular season. This right here is just the week at a glance. This is obviously subject to change based on the week, right? However, this is sort of a skeleton week, a week that you could expect if there were to be no games, right? So if there were no games, this is what a week would look like. And again, I will send this out to all parents once teams have been established. I don't want to send it out to everybody right now just because it doesn't make sense to if they're not on the team. I just don't want to send out a bulk email to everybody at the school, especially for people who don't need it. It doesn't make sense for them to have. So once teams are established at the end of tryouts, the first week of tryouts, I'll send all this stuff out. But this is what a skeleton week looks like, the foundation of a week, basically, if you want to put it that way. And then what you guys will all get once teams have been finalized is literally just an overview of the season sort of at large, right? Starting on Monday, 12/2, the first day of tryouts, lets you know where each team is at any given time on any given day, right? So we go all the way down. You zoom out here so you can see a little bit better. But again, it has every single day accounted for. So you know where and when your student athlete or where your student athlete is at any given time would be a better way to put that. But just for the sake of transparency and ease of communication, I wanted to send this out to parents and guardians and families because this really is sort of like the Bible. I was telling the coaches, this is like their Bible, right? Like anytime you need to know where to be, just check this, right? All of these dates in yellow are dates that we will be on break. You'll see a lot of off time during break, or at least a few days where we're off. But the expectation is that we're practicing over break and we're playing over break and we're going to meets over break and cheers practicing over break, right? Like that's been the expectation for the past 3 years. But I do like to remind parents that this is serious. This is high school varsity athletics, right? Like me growing up, like I was at practice every single day. Like we even had practice on Christmas. I'm not going to do that to you guys, but back in the day when I was growing up, we had practice on Christmas. So the expectation is that you're practicing over break. You're meeting with your team over break. A lot of teams don't. So I like using that opportunity to stay sharp and to go to teams while they're not sharp and beat them, right? Like that's important, right? It's strategy. It's important. It creates discipline. And yeah, we just need to do it, right? And the coaches are willing to do it. I have an amazing crew of coaches who are willing to do it because they want to, not because they have to, but because they want to. They want to get the reps in. They want your kids to get better. So it's important that we do practice over break. But again, every single day we're blocked off until 3-1 at least. All of this stuff here at the end is TBD, which will get updated as we find out more based on our seeding and based on sort of how we enter the state tournament and what that looks like. So all this stuff is available to you or will be available to you at the end of tryouts. I want to make that super clear. That again, it is all planned out and it will be disseminated to everybody once we get closer to game one. The second link I want to show everybody is called Arbiter Live. It's it's the software the state uses to report scores and standings and ultimately decides your power ranking. So um, this is what it looks like. This is the boys one, for example. It's always changing. This is always fluid, right? So if like a game gets canceled due to weather, whether that be like snow or ice or whatever the case may be, right? The updated game time will get posted to this website. It's on our Instagram. I've sent it out in a number of emails. I can send it out again. Um, but yeah, this is what will get updated in real time. This is kind of like what counts. So this is the one that doesn't need to get updated. You have the ability to check this. You can check any other sport that we offer. We have, our boys varsity schedule, our junior varsity schedule, our girls schedule. Everything in the spring is already squared away. So softball is squared away. We're gonna have baseball up there soon. Outdoor, indoor track. You can take a look at our past seasons. So like this is an archive of our records leading up to this point, and it's also sort of a live schedule, which is helpful for parents um, when things change. So be sure to check this. Super important link, and it's going to continue to be an important link for years to come, as long as we're in the league. So, yeah, please make sure you do check this website. Again, that's Arbiter Live. It'll bring you to a search bar. You search Neighborhood House Charter School, and you'll find us. For indoor track, I did want to take some time. Again, I use the same presentation for our coaches meeting. So some of this stuff is geared more towards coaches than it is families, but I do like to put it up. So these are just the qualification standards for indoor track in our division this year. So this is Elijah Fletcher doing the long jump at outdoor last year. Just to use him as an example, right? The boys long jump. The qualifier is 18 feet and 10 inches to qualify for the state meet, right? So just to give kind of people who are new to track an idea of like what that means, right? Like you have all of these meets scheduled throughout the year. The point of these meets, obviously you want to go and win, right? But the point of these meets is for individual athletes to qualify for the state meet, right? You'll hear kids talking at the school all the time, like, "Oh, I got to qualify for states. I'm 3 inches away from states in the long jump. Like, I gotta jump 3 more inches next meet, right?" Creates this awesome culture around the school because kids want to qualify. They all know their numbers. They all know what the number is to qualify. But yeah, so this will be kind of posted around the school. We'll hand these out to the coaches. The girls' mile. Let's see what the girls' mile is. So the girls' mile qualifier is 5:54 this year, so a little bit different than last year. Boys is 4:58. So if you're running these times, you're like a premier level athlete in the state for track and field. So that's kind of the idea behind these qualification standards. Kids want to meet them. If you're meeting these standards, you're looking at potential Division III, Division II college looks. So it's a good idea to know them, and it's a good idea for parents to know them because it lets them know kind of what their kids are thinking about and talking about on a daily. As far as basketball goes, this was the first year we made the state tournament over here. We traveled all the way out to like basically New York, about 4 hours away to play Mount Everett, and we beat them. First ever tournament win. It was awesome. But yeah, last year the girls were 19-0, one of the very few undefeated teams in the state, which is crazy. Still feels like a dream. Got us a 19 ranking in the state of Massachusetts, which is the highest we've ever had for I think any sport actually. So that was huge. Our boys were 22nd, which again is amazing. It was a hell of a run by the boys. They won their play-in game last year as well against Bethany Christian Academy, and made it to the round of 32. Both teams made it to the round of 32 last year. The goal here is to have at least one team go to the round of 16 this year. That's kind of our big goal. Obviously, we always want a state championship, but we'd love to see a team get to the round of 16 this year. And I think we got the talent to do it. So I'm very, very excited. The top 32 teams make the tournament regardless of their record, right? So that's based off of how much you beat teams by strength of schedule, which ultimately creates a number value for your school. And that number value is what they use to determine your ranking within the state. So if you're top 32, you make it automatically. It doesn't matter what your record is. However, if you're outside the 32, um, you can still make it if your win-loss percentage is over 500. So let's just say we play 18 games and we're 9-9 and we're outside the top 32. We still make it because we're 500. We're 9-9. However, if we were 8-10 and we were outside the top 32, we wouldn't make it because we'd be below 500. So it becomes sort of like this balancing act of, do we schedule hard teams or easy teams, or we have to find that sort of happy medium where we're playing a hard schedule, but we're playing a schedule that we know can hopefully result in a 500 record. So that's the idea behind kind of my madness and the method to my madness when it comes to scheduling. Seasons are capped at 18 games. Like I said, we have to leave 2 open. So ultimately, we'll be playing 20 regular season games with the hopes that we're playing, 25 at the end of the season to win a state championship. So that's the idea. As far as the MCSAO goes, our conference, right? Both the boys and the girls were first in the conference last year. Amazing. Swept, got a bunch of trophies. We love trophies. We love the hardware here, and we're filling out our trophy case, and it's awesome. To be eligible for playoffs, we need to play all of our South Division counterparts, which we have scheduled, which is great. Top 8 power ranked teams are eligible for the MCSO tournament. And we're using the MIA coefficient for this. So it kind of streamlines everything. It's great that we're using power rankings because I think it gives the tournament sort of a more competitive feel. And it's more of a true representation of who the best teams in the conference are, as opposed to who had the best record within conference, right? If that makes sense. But it's a great thing. I think it is something that's going to help the conference sort of like gain legitimacy and take off. So I'm glad we're doing it. Important dates and info. The 25th of November registration is due. The second tryouts begin. Track meet registration begins on the 2nd. The 12th is the first basketball games. The 13th is the first grade check and also the first home game. 14th is the first track meet. And then we're just looking at end of season stuff, which doesn't mean too much now, but put it up here anyway to just give you an idea of what to expect and how to plan for the year. As far as communication goes, the coaches will be doing the bulk of the communication with parents and guardians and families. I tend to sort of not take a backseat, but I tend to do most of my work behind the scenes as the director. I'd much rather the coaches do the communicating because they're the ones who are with your student athlete every single day. And for some of them, it's we're talking 12 hours a day. They're with your student athlete, so they know them very well. They know them a lot better than I do. So I think the communication should be done with them as sort of like the vector, right? Like the coaches should be doing that communication with you, not me. I will get involved if I need to. Hopefully I don't need to. I'm usually only getting involved if it's a bad thing. So it's best not to hear from me. But like I said, the coaches will be doing the bulk of that communication. To provide some transparency, the coaches and I have an all coach group chat. So that includes every coach for the winter season. Track, girls, basketball, boys basketball, cheer, all of them. So we have a group chat that we use to communicate with one another. We're constantly in communication. We're constantly talking. And that's one of my huge things. It's just communication and providing transparency between all parties involved. Because I feel like it makes for a better product and helps ultimately everybody out, right? Like we always want to be communicating. So coaches are communicating with me, they're communicating with you, they're communicating with your student athlete. And we're huge on that here. So hopefully everybody else feels the same and is okay to receive that communication because it's very, very important. I'll also be sending out weekly logistics emails to the coaches so they can then further disseminate that information to parents and guardians and students. This is the tryout schedule, which is posted to our athletics Instagram, but I'm also going to leave it up here for just a moment in case anybody wants to take a photo of it. But this is what it looks like. Again, December 2nd, that's the Monday after our little Thanksgiving break, I believe. If it's not, that's fine. It's still the Monday. And that's the first day we can legally start tryouts in the state of Massachusetts. So we get started as early as we can. And that is the schedule. So again, please take a photo of that if you need to. If it comes up blurry again, it's on the athletics Instagram at the NHCS Athletics. I know most of you follow us already, but the handle's there at the bottom, right here. So shoot that a follow. If you don't, I do post a lot of information there, a lot of updates. We post student athlete of the week there. We post scores, stats, all that stuff. So important thing to follow. The kids love it. They love seeing their face up there. They love seeing their name get posted. They love seeing their stats. So yeah, super important. Great community. We're almost at 1,000 followers. So give it a follow. What can I do to prepare for the season? Well, we're so close to the season starting. There's not much we can do to prepare now. However, I will say making sure our grades are on point, making sure we're getting runs in for basketball, making sure we're getting runs in, making sure our cardio is on point. You know you're going to run. You know Miss Walker is going to be running you. You know Coach Fernandez is going to be running you. So make sure you come in shape. Make sure you're getting those runs in. Make sure you're conditioned. Do some resistance training, right? Get prepared. I would say the most important things for everybody are grades and conditioning. Track, you guys know the drill. Your whole sport is conditioning. So obviously you need to come conditioned. All right. Don't come out of shape on day one, right? And get in shape. Like, I mean, if you come in out of shape, you're not getting in shape until the 5th week of the season. And by that time, season's already over. So you got to come in shape to get the most bang for your buck season wise, right? So for those of you that did fall sports, a lot of you are going to be ready, which is awesome. For those of you that didn't do fall sports, I hope you were working in the off season. All right. But grades, conditioning, super important. 1 and 2. You guys don't have to worry about this. This is coach stuff. These are just registration numbers, what we have thus far. But what I do want to end it on is just creating an action item for everybody, right? Creating an action item. You don't need to establish anything now. However, I do want people to start thinking of it and have it ready for the first day of tryouts, which is December 2nd. Think about a goal that you hope to accomplish this year, right? Write it down, put it on your desk, make it your phone background, put it on your fridge. Like, make it, I don't care what you do, but you should write down a goal and you should put that goal somewhere that you're seeing it every day. So you're reading it every day, right? And it's just like entering your subconscious and it's there for you to see every single day, right? I do it. I have a bunch of sticky notes all over my desk. I have a whole pad of them. Because I put to-do items on my desk and all that stuff. But I've got a whole pad of sticky notes here and I've got goals all over my desk, right? And I'm looking at them every day. And it just reminds me every day of the work I need to do, the work I need to put in to ultimately reach that goal, right? Make it realistic. Don't put it on a short timeline, put it on a long timeline, or at least make a timeline that's realistic for you, right? But for my basketball players, that could be something like get at least 5 assists a game or average 12 a game. Or for my track athletes is like qualify for states by the second meet. Or for cheer, halftime show at every single home game, and every single playoff game. Right. For me, it's clear 30,000 in revenue this year. Right. That's one of mine. Okay. But super important, right? We should all have goals, help sort of create a path for us. And gives us a little bit of guidance, right? So we're not just wandering aimlessly through life, right? We need to lock in, stay in your lane, lock in. Okay. Big on goals over here. Those of you that see me every day and have me for class, you know this. If anybody's got questions, again, you can email me. We're not in person, so we can't do a live Q&A. Just shoot me an email. And that's all she wrote. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I know it's a lot. Again, feel free to skip around. There's a lot of talking. I hate talking. So, um, yeah, skip around if you need to. Find what you need. The slideshow itself kind of is a pretty good guide. So if you see something interesting that pops up on the screen, I'm likely talking about it. So, yeah, and again, if you have questions, please let me know. I'm happy to answer them. And looking forward to an amazing winter season. This is always the most fun time of the year. I know it gets dark early. I know it gets cold, but this is kind of NHCS athletics at its core. So, looking forward to a great season and can't wait to hear from y'all.